The second pandemic in South Africa, gender-based violence. Activists demand change after several resent especially brutal killings.
Security challenges on the border between Nigeria and Cameroon, and community leaders vow to crack down on kidnapping, armed banditry, cattle rustling and insurgency.
In the slums of Kenya, families turned to a virtual community currency to pay for food and goods during the coronavirus pandemic.
Hello and welcome to Africa 54. I'm Chamberlain Usoa, Channels Television here in Lagos. I'm joined by Vincent Makori at Voice of America in Washington.
Thanks, I'm Vincent Makori. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Due to the global outbreak of COVID-19, the Voice of America has reduced staffing at VOA headquarters in Washington. So, as you see, our broadcast will look a little different today and in the near future. We appreciate you staying with us on Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Chamberlain also in Lagos brings you that story.
Communities around the border town between Nigeria and Cameroon are looking for ways to address security challenges they face. At a security meeting of stakeholders from both countries in Adamawa State, resolutions were made, including more collaborative efforts to tackle common problems. Channels Television's correspondent Freedom Haslon compiled the report.
The security situation in parts of Nigeria, particularly in recent times, is a cause for concern. Insurgency, kidnapping, armed banditry, cattle rustling and armed robbery are some of the security breaches that communities are exposed to. Border communities face a unique challenge because they are far-flung and help sometimes does not come fast enough. Meha local government area in Adamawa State is one of such places. Being a community on the border between Nigeria and neighboring Republic of Cameroon, trans-border crime such as kidnapping is rampant. Securing the release of victims requires payment of outrageous sums of money as ransom, and sometimes lives are lost. Gathered here in the Secretariat of Meha local government area are security personnel, religious and traditional leaders, as well as local government chairmen and other relevant stakeholders from Nigeria and Cameroon. They are here to find solutions to the security threats.
I am here representing the governor of Gawa in Cameroon, and I'm here with our local government chairman, security agencies, and some officials to discuss ways of collaborating between Nigeria and my country, Cameroon. Meha is a border local government area with Cameroon, and this meeting is to ensure peaceful coexistence and cooperation between both countries in the area of security. Cameroon and Nigeria have been brothers, and we will always work together to achieve peace and enhance the relationship between both countries. The activities of criminal elements along our borders must be checkmated and brought to the barest minimum.
The chairman of Meha Local Government Council explains how dire the situation is.
Kidnapping in Meha has become like a pure water business. Every 2 days, 2 people, 4 people, 3 people. As I'm talking to you now this year, kidnapping, as I know from my inception in 6 months, we had 128 kidnapping along Meha, Belel, Cameroon Road. But we have gotten assurance now from today, Cameroon government are ready to assist, and we are ready to assist them in battling this menace called bandits or kidnappers.
Other leaders are optimistic that this engagement will produce solutions to the problem.
It's very, very important because of what we are experiencing now, because of the insecurity that is bordering our 2 countries, Cameroon and Nigeria, and we at the border are always at the receiving end. It's very, very important.
As representatives of both countries return to their communities, they leave with resolutions and recommendations which, when implemented, will help improve the security situation in the border areas between Nigeria and Cameroon.
For more on security within parts of Nigeria's borders, we are joined by Chidi Nwonu, a security consultant who joins us from London. Welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you for having me.
Now, there's been reports of security breaches in parts of the country, including increasing cases of terrorist activities making the rounds again. What do you think could be fueling this resurgence?
Well, there's many factors, but the key ones are that the security forces that we have in Nigeria are clearly overstretched. They have too many tasks. So it's impossible for those that are dedicated to certain tasks, such as, the immigration service or the customs, to man the borders because they're doing other tasks, or the army or the police to maintain internal security. So that lack of capacity means that our borders are quite porous, and it's quite easy for people to come in, come out, and commit, activities without being tracked or traced.
Well, for communities around the borders between Nigeria and neighboring countries such as Cameroon, which also have challenges with insurgency, what would be a good approach to providing better security?
Well, we have a plethora of security forces in Nigeria. We have, civil defense, police, army, all of these. And as I said, many of them are not fit for purpose in that, their training is inadequate. The organization is not, as up to scratch. And they're badly equipped, badly led, and generally not enough of them. So the first thing is a complete security sector reform. So looking at, the Nigerian security situation, having a clear understanding of it, and, bit by bit reorganizing it, removing the multiplicity of agencies. Agencies, you have a Navy and a NIMASA. You have immigrations, customs, army, police, all of them doing, more or less the same task on the border. You've got NDLEA, EFCC, as well as the police. So it's trying to reform all of these organizations and unify them, and then start modernizing them and bringing them up to scratch. The main emphasis has to be on training and the quality of people who are in these services.
Well, this could have wider implications for security across the country. But on the national level, what should the authorities be doing to address such challenges around the country?
At that point, if we're looking at it from a national point of view, it's a leadership issue. So there needs to be the political will to undertake the necessary reforms. There needs to be the political will to hold leaders to account. And this is not just the military leaders. So it's very popular to hear, change the service chiefs, or service chiefs must deploy to X area or Y area where there's a crisis. But it needs to be the civilian control or the political control as well. There needs to be some sort of accountability from the Minister of Defense, from the Ministry of the Interior, from the Ministry of Police as to what these forces under their control are actually doing. And then we can look at the uniformed leaders and what is their measurement of success? How are we quantifying success for them? What are they being given as their taskings? And are they being given, the equipment or the resources that they need for success? And if they are, then we can, rightly judge them to be failures. But if they're not, we can start reaching back to look for why they're not getting everything they need.
All right, then, Chidi Wanu, security consultant, thank you for talking to us today on Africa 54.
Thank you very much.
Today, in our series COVID-19 Diaries, from Cameroon, we meet Ayangma Theodore Pepin, General Manager of Athepic Auto, a garage located in the Founder district of Yaoundé. He explains how the COVID-19 crisis affected his business and how he had to adapt to new realities. Images are by Jules Emmanuel Tap.
My name is Ayangba Theodore Pepin. I'm the general manager of Athepic Auto Group. The lockdown has had a very serious impact on my personal life and on my business. Because when the confinement started, people stopped coming back to work because of the confinement. So we had delays in shipments and late payments. If we need important documents, they tell us it's delayed because of the 2 weeks lockdown. Whoever has to pay us, they say it's delayed because of the confinement. The companies we work with had to close and are having difficulty paying us. Usually we order a lot of parts. We are out of parts because of the confinement. As long as transportation and airports are closed, it will be difficult. As long as the borders are closed, it will be really difficult. We have no more replacement parts for our vehicles. We have ordered, but there are no more parts. As for Cameroon in general, the country is okay. We try to follow the rules in place the best we can. We have to respect the authorities and their rules. When the government says to close at 6 p.m., we have no choice. We have to close. I'm telling you, this lockdown has impacted our society and our personal and professional lives. We do whatever the government asks us to do. We have a dish there for hand washing. There is soap. There is sanitizer. I have my mask here. I can put it on now. I have my mask, and then I also have my staff. Everyone here has their mask, and everyone who comes here will have to wash and sanitize their hands. We have not yet received any aid from the government. Maybe soon. It's a joy because whoever was not working during the lockdown is working now. We were really stuck. It is truly a joy that the country is reopening.
Air Cote d'Ivoire has resumed domestic flights after a 3-month shutdown, and international flights are likely to resume in early July. A $24 million injection from the government has kept the airline live, surviving the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the aviation industry. According to the chief executive officer, the pandemic also slowed down plans to get into the long-haul business.
Air Cote d'Ivoire has resumed domestic flights and is confident of making a quick recovery from losses occasioned by COVID-19 restrictions. Passengers are relieved that the airline has resumed flights.
I am about to board a Cote d'Ivoire flight, and I'm really pleased that the flights have resumed because our country needs it. Really, this resumption helps us move around easily and travel within the country and come back. So I am really happy.
A $24 million injection by the government has helped keep the airline, which operates in one of the region's busiest hubs, afloat.
We had grounded planes with no revenue, but we still had fixed charges, like the hiring of planes, which we had to keep paying for. We had to continue paying the personnel. We had to pay in order to prepare for the relaunch, and all those fixed costs that we had to honor if we wanted to take off after this period. So we contacted the state, we calculated all our fixed costs for the 3-month period, which had been foreseen until the end of the month of June, and the state was favorable and supported us.
Boarding and flight preparations are more complicated now because of the virus for both passengers and crew members. The safety precautions will help guarantee a smooth transition into international flights, which are expected to resume in early July.
We think that here, if we can start in July, we will maybe get, if all goes well, around 80% of the passengers we need by the end of the year. And that is optimistic, because if I look at the whole world, because we need to look at different continents. In Europe, for example, they're talking of a complete recovery by 2023. So we don't count in months, but rather in years. We in Africa may be a bit different, since we need planes a lot more for professional travel and for commerce. So we hope the recovery will be faster.
Air Cote d'Ivoire plans to receive a new Airbus A320neo in October, which will be the 11th plane in its fleet. The airline plans to eventually get into the long-haul business, but those plans have been shelved because of the pandemic.
We remind you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and other programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come, An indigenous factory in Mogadishu, Somalia, adapts from making environmentally friendly bags to making face masks to help stop the spread of COVID-19. That's in a moment. Join us again.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Now, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says violence against women and girls is the country's second pandemic. The nation has one of the world's highest rates of rape and murder, and several recent, especially brutal killings, are enraging the nation. But activists say they need to see real change, not just words, from leaders to protect victims. Viewers Anita Powell spoke with women and girls who have survived this plague of violence and reports from Johannesburg.
Like a lot of teenagers, Thembekile Clea dreams big. But since she was raped earlier this year by a man in this impoverished part of Johannesburg, this 13-year-old's dreams have turned dark.
I want to be a sound engineer and a lawyer. I just feel like my dreams are shattered. Nothing will be good for me again.
She's one of countless South African girls and women who fall prey every day to what President Cyril Ramaphosa described as a war of gender-based violence.
As a man, as a husband, and as a father to daughters, I am appalled at what is no less than a war that is being waged against the women and the children of our country.
Police statistics show that a woman is murdered every 3 hours. Official statistics on sexual assault may not show the full scope of the problem, researchers say, because many victims don't report the incident to police. Given Sikakwe, who works with nonprofit organization Sonke Gender Justice, says patriarchy, the belief that men rule in the family and society, is the main culprit. He praised Ramaphosa for his strong words, but said that it's the seemingly innocent ones that cause problems.
A lot of comments, for example, that are made at home seem quite innocuous. But there's nothing innocuous if you're operating in a system like patriarchy, where to show your strength, you need to beat up someone. I'm particularly worried about the seemingly harmless behavior that we suppose we promote in our homes, because that, for me, we are indirectly forming ticking time bombs.
17-year-old Aquilene Shaku says she's seen how words can hurt.
Like last week, when my dad came home, I don't know what happened. So he started shouting at my mom and swearing at her. So I went out and cried because I didn't think it was something that could happen to me. I thought, not at first, I thought that gender-based violence is about physical abuse only. But then when I realized how my mom has been emotionally abused, it broke me apart, because now she's part of that struggle of trying to fight to get out of that kind of relationship, but my dad doesn't allow her to go.
Thokozani Ndaba founded this organization for girls in this slum-like neighborhood. She says that while women and girls of all backgrounds are affected by gender-based violence, she started the program here because it's particularly lacking in resources.
There was an 11-year-old who was raped in 2018. And she gave birth to an HIV-positive child, and she was positive. And in 2018, how is that possible? So this is how the program started. We have an after-school program where after school they can come here, because the only thing that's around, you saw all those men drinking at 10 in the morning. There's nothing, there's no hope. It's a dire situation, and all they know is grab young people that they see around and rape them and destroy their lives, because their lives are already destroyed.
Ndaba, like many activists, is calling for harsher penalties for sexual assault. Thembekile agrees. She recently learned, when she saw him on the street, that the man who raped her was released on bail. That provoked a tailspin of emotions.
Do you think he should go to jail for a long time?
Yes, I think so, because there are a lot of girls, there are a lot of women in this area. Why didn't he go to some women then to come to me? There are a lot of girls and women who he could be in the relationship with them, not to come and rape me.
But these young women say they will not let their assailants redefine their lives or their dreams. Anita Powell, VOA News, Johannesburg.
An indigenous factory in Mogadishu, Somalia's capital, is adapting to the changes brought by the coronavirus pandemic. The factory, which previously made environmentally friendly bags, is now producing face masks and churns out not less than 50,000 pieces a day. Take a look.
At a factory in Mogadishu, workers are making 50,000 face masks a day. This has become their daily task since the COVID-19 pandemic induced a change from making environmentally friendly bags.
We started this factory a year ago, and we used to work on environmental products, making woven bags to save the environment. Our intention, to stop the use of plastic bags in the country. With the outbreak of coronavirus, we've stopped making use of those bags and started making face masks to take part in the fight against coronavirus in Somalia.
The World Health Organization says the use of masks can limit the spread of the new coronavirus, but available masks are mostly Chinese-made and are sold for as much as $10 each. In this camp for displaced people on the outskirts of Mogadishu, even 40 cents is beyond the reach of many of the families, so volunteers from the factory are handing out masks for free.
We are making masks that will help prevent its spread among our people. We sell one mask for 40 cents to cover the running and packaging costs. A package of 50 pieces sells for $20 US.
Somalia, which has one of the world's weakest health systems, has limited options to cope with the 2,894 cases it currently has. Aid workers say the virus could spread undetected in the camps, where maintaining a safe distance and regular hand washing are a challenge, with particular concern for the capital Mogadishu, host to some 800,000 displaced people seeking refuge from floods and conflict.
Families in the slums of Kenya's capital are using a virtual community currency to pay for food during the coronavirus pandemic. More than 500 people a day are signing up to Kenyan Red Cross-supported community inclusion currency, known as Sarafu, to get food, soap, and other essentials. Mohammed Yusuf reports.
Mukuru Kayaba, a slum in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, is home to at least 80,000 people. 49-year-old Jane Mutuku is one of them. She does manual work, but those jobs have been hard to come by in the past few months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, she buys her food using Sarafu, a community e-voucher currency.
For now, I have no money. I looked for a job the whole of yesterday. I didn't get any job. So I have decided to use my Sarafu to buy food. I have no food at home.
Peter Odhiambo's store is one of 100 shops that accept the community currency. Together, the shops do about $10,000 US worth of business each day using Sarafu.
I can use the Sarafu to buy goods in the area. For example, if I want to buy rice from the big stores, I buy using Sarafu. For the things that are not available in my community, I turn my Sarafu points into local currency within our established groups. The groups help us to turn our Sarafu into Kenya shillings.
Sarafu was developed by grassroots economics and US-based engineering firm Block Science. The firm puts financial contributions from donors into a community fund. The fund is leveraged to create and back the community credit.
One Sarafu is equal to 1 Kenya shillings. So when we register the community, we are able to give them a token of 400 shillings that now they are able to purchase basic goods and services within the community. This Sarafu is able to multiply if they are able to engage in income-generating activities or even their businesses.
Like hundreds of thousands of Kenyans who have lost jobs, the people here struggle to make a living. For Mutuku, she'll be able to prepare at least one meal for the day, thanks to the community inclusion currency. Mohammed Yusuf for VOA News, Nairobi.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word from Lagos.
Thanks, Vincent. We look forward to bringing you another show next week. Don't forget, channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Chamberlain Oso. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.